Maybe it was cremated. I don't know. How do you think Joann wanted to be remembered funeral-wise? Let me know in the comments below, I guess. Hi again. I am Fathom, and I am the founder of Other Fiber Creations, and today, I know that I am late to the train. By the time you're seeing this video, we're probably already going to be looking at Joann's body dead in the ground. Probably already covered in dirt in the casket. Maybe it was cremated. I don't know. How do you think Joann wanted to be remembered funeral-wise? Let me know in the comments below, I guess. But today is the day where I'm going to go make my last official Joann trip. I have a lot of really fond memories with Joann as a company. I know it's weird to have kind of a parasocial relationship with a brand, but I remember it was shortly after I started knitting. I wanted to be like my mom, who is knitting, because every year I pick a skill that is my skill for the year. That it's kind of like a resolution, but it's one of those where it's like this is a skill I want to at least have a kindergarten level at. Can my phone not whistle at me? Anyways, I remember that I went to Joann with my mom multiple times, and it was something that we were able to bond over, especially during a lot of turbulent time in our relationship. There was a lot of moments where she and I didn't get along super well, but something that we could bond over was we would go, get lunch, talk it out, and then go to Joann and talk about our creativity. We'd talk about the projects we want to make, the kind of yarns we've been enjoying. Oh, do you need this? Oh, I'll grab this for you. Oh, I'll do that. I remember in the pandemic, when I was still doing knitting commissions, the Joann near me had a liquidation sale. And I spent an entire stimulus check at Joann. I'm not proud of that level of overconsumption, but all of that yarn I was able to buy, because it was a lot of blanket yarn, is the thing that was able to push me forward into being able to be the business owner I am today. A lot of the plushies I make are made with the yarn I got back then. I'm finally starting to kind of get through all that yarn, but I still have a lot of it sitting that I make stuff out of. The Easter Lotus Duster, which you can view here, a lot of that yarn is from Joann. Same with the handmade, or the making a sweater and making the cardigan without a pattern. Both you can see up here. Both of those, yarn from Joann. When I went through a breakup, like a massive one, a few years ago, be about 2-3 years ago now, my mom and I went and got lunch, and then went to Joann, and we had a heart-to-heart over lunch. It was okay, serious stuff aside, let's talk about the future. Let's talk about your business. Let's talk about this fun, creative outlet that we have to channel our emotion into. It is a brand that I have a lot of fond memories of. So Joann going away kind of sucks, especially since as a business owner, the Michaels near here, terrible plushie yarn selection. Michaels, get your game together. Fix the Michaels in Huntsville. Thanks. But all that being said, me and my friend Annie, who you can see in this video here since she helped me out with my last market, we're gonna go and walk around Joann. I don't know how far in the liquidation process it is. It got announced about a week ago that all the stores will be liquidating from when I'm filming this. But we'll see if I can get some B-roll footage. I might not be able to, I'm sorry in advance. If not, you're gonna just have a hard cut to me with the yarn I bought. And yeah, we're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to go because she's on the way. So yeah. Why is there so much Taylor Swift stuff at the Joann? Okay, we are back home. I'm being a little bit quiet because my roommate, is sleeping. Lighting may not be the best because we are using the window. And sorry about the framing. You are inside of my yarn wall currently in one of the shelves. The Joann itself was busy. The fabric cutting counter was wrapped around, like the line for it was wrapped around the building. Not like outside of the building, but inside. You get what I mean. The line for checkout, there was about like 15 of us in the checkout with 3 cashiers trying their best, but the machines were not helping them. When we arrived, we beelined it straight for the yarn. And as I'm sure you saw in that B-roll, it was pretty empty. The 2 categories of yarn that were left, for the most part, were some random value acrylic, not Red Heart Super Saver, but Caron, and a lot of holiday big twist yarn, the Christmas stuff, winter, and there was some other like sub types of yarn. Winter was one of the names of the types of yarn, like how Lion Brand has mandala. Big Twist had winter. I went through casually, and a surprise to me was that there was next to no burnout blanket. I know there's a lot of crochet business people in the area, but there was significantly more Big Twist than burnout blanket left. Big Twist, for those who do not know, is Joann's brand. They own the brand as far as I'm aware. I may not be correct on that. I believe Yarnspirations is the one who does it. It is a private labeled yarn. And so a lot of the hype I've seen online is people panicking about where they're going to get their big twist yarn. Not the Joann in Huntsville, apparently, because there's a ton of it and no one's buying it. Wild. It was not nearly as much as the value acrylic, but there was significantly more than I was expecting there to be, if that makes sense. So, let's talk about what I actually grabbed. If Annie was here in this video would be like an hour because she grabbed a couple $100 worth. Let me be more fair. Just short of a couple $100 worth of yarn. She grabbed a lot, like 3 of the giant bags worth. I only grabbed 1 bag worth. I grabbed 6 skeins of yarn total. I had the action urge to buy more impulsively. I did not. Partially because the yarn itself was only 25% off. They had not added an additional 25% off yet, so they had their regular store discount 25%. And their signage made it seem like it was double that. It was not. That's fine. On top of that, the selection was not that big, and so I sat and thought responsibly about each yarn I picked up of would I actually use this, and if so, what for. So I had an answer to that question for each of the yarns I picked up. So let's walk through them. First, this is Juicy Couture Luxe Velour XL. It is an 100% polyester weight 7 yarn, and this is in the color Licorice. This yarn is really soft, and it reminds me of the fur trim I use for the Mothmen I make with Mom Stitchetti. That's her name, right? Mom Stitchetti's Mothman pattern. Blech. Sorry, ever since I had COVID, my breath support is not the best. So, this yarn calls for a P hook. I'm not going to be using that because I'm crazy. When I grabbed this was the only color of it left, and there was like 7 of this particular one. I know from a friend who uses this yarn, if you're not careful, it can stain your hook. Like her ergonomic handle now has like a bluish tint to it. I don't think that'll be a problem for me because my hooks are beat to crap. I had to think of what word I was going to use. So, this yarn I plan to use for trim for Mothmen. Leftovers I will find use for. Excellent. Next. This is a skein of Bernat blanket. The next four, if we include this one, are going to be that. This is in the colorway Pebble Dot. I had thought this was part of the Bernat blanket dot collection. I think it is. It's just not called that. It is this gray base with white specks and brown specks throughout it. One of my best-selling things that I make for markets are the no-sew dragon patterns by Crochet by Jenna. I make each one unique. Once I do a combination of yarn, I do not do it again. I also pick eyes or will paint eyes to match the dragon. I then give each of them a name ahead of time because I sell my baby dragons. One second. I sell my baby dragons, and they are newborn and nameless, and canonically, for the lore that the kids ask about. The adult dragons have grown up with me because they've not been adopted yet. That is the lore, and so I name them. I'm planning to do this with I think a gray edition. Yeah, I think I'm going to put gray with this to kind of match up. Actually, no. The gray will be too same. I think I'm going to go for like a dark gray if I do. Maybe I'll go for a brown or a white. I just know it's going to be a nice complementary color to this. I think it's going to be a really cute dragon. So next. This is Bernat Blanket in Forest Sage. This is my favorite of their green shades. I love the amount of green multi-tones in this. I fell in love with this yarn the first time I saw it. I've already made a dragon out of it, so it's not for dragons. I make Cthulhu out of this, and people love it. I also want to make some baby dinos, and I think that this would be really cute with some of the green I have as the ribbing. So yeah, I got this. I think it'll be good. Get a nice, beautiful shot of it so you can look at it better. The next yarn is this one. This is Bernat Blanket, or Baby Blanket, rather, in Pretty Girl. It is a bit hard to see here. It is this lovely white, pink, and purple combination. I have some pretty, not pink, purple glittery safety eyes that I think will go fantastic with this for an adult dragon. I think that I'll take some hot pink yarn probably as the complement color, make a nice dragon out of it. I think it'll be very cute. I think somebody's going to love it. Annie's response when I showed her was, there's going to be a little girl that loves that. And I think it could be a little anybody who loves that. That's just me being woke, I guess. Final one of Bernat Blanket is this haphazard mess. This is the first one I found. It was alone in the aisle it was in. This is Bernat Baby Blanket in Blue Jean Dot. It is this deep royal blue with specks of sky blue, bright green, and pink throughout it. I think it is another one that's going to be a lovely complement to another baby dragon. Not baby dragon, adult dragon. I know that most of this yarn is dragon yarn, mostly because the yarn I have currently, I'm running out of dragon yarn, and so I'm trying to kind of get some new dragons in stock before my next market. And I think that it will be a great combination to get done. The final skein of yarn that I got is some Big Twist plush. Wow! This is in the color black. I should have expected it's called that considering it is literally just a black skein of yarn. I was in shock. The colors that were left of this yarn were bright neon yellow, bright neon orange, bright neon pink, and the color with the most skeins left was black. I use black for a lot of things. I use it for embroidery. I use it for hair, for mermaids, for Luffy, for all sorts of things like that. I use it for embroidering eyes. I use it for embroidering mouths. I use it if I'm going to do bees. I don't really do bees very often, but when I do, It's this. And so seeing that nobody thought to grab it surprised me. There was like 10 plus of this. If I had a bigger budget, I probably would have grabbed more of this just to stock up. But I grabbed what I grabbed. So now let's talk about what we know about the Joann closure. I talked to the person checking me out. I believe his name was Jonathan. He was amazing. He was kind. He had his name tag on. Is the only reason I know his name. I joked to Annie because when she went to scan her card, the entire machine crashed because it had already been glitching out and her card just did the deed. So we had to wait for it to restart. And so we made small talk, had some fun. And I was like, I am so sorry to ask this to you. Do you know when the store is closing? I know it sucks because it feels like I'm asking you when your job's going to end, and that's an awful question to ask. And he's like, no. I get it because I had already told him I'm a business owner. He's like, you are asking because your livelihood depends on when we are open. I was like, yes, I appreciate you understanding. He's like, yeah, you guys have been a lot nicer than a lot of the people asking me about it. As far as we know, from a worker's insight, Joann is set to close at the very end of April. The stores are set to, as soon as they are able to, shut their doors. However, if a store still has inventory, it will remain open for the first few weeks of May to get rid of said inventory. But April is the hard cut. When you're seeing this, it's probably going to be near the end of that, if not the end of April. I film my videos a bit ahead of time, and so there's a good chance that that deadline is fast approaching or already passed. With that being said, that brings up the question of where do we get yarn now? I have pulled up Mom's Stitch Eddie's Instagram. I'm going to put that name down here so you can actually see who I'm referencing. Who released a post that I'm making into a video about Joann alternatives for certain yarns. If you use Bernat Blanket, you can get it from Michaels, the Yarnspirations website, Hirschner's, Walmart, Amazon, and Majir. I've never heard of that one. If you want alternatives to that yarn, you could get Premier Basics Chenille or Lion Brand Cover Story. If you are a Big Twist Posh user, you can still get it from Amazon, Spinrite, and there is a Big Twist website. We don't know if that's a legitimate website. Wait to hear more on that before you buy from there. If you want an alternative yarn, though, it is recommended you get the Knotty Ball, Knotty. It is by Kayla's Crafts 97. It is a small business that makes a similar yarn to Big Twist Posh. Highly recommended, heard great things about it. I say go check it out. Bernat Velvet, you can get Premier Just Chenille, Michael Skinny Chenille, or Hobby / Hobie, depending on how you pronounce it. Toucan Fine. Those are all alternative yarns. You can get this yarn still, though, if you want Bernat Velvet, from Michaels, Yarnspirations, Hirschner's, Walmart, and Amazon. I normally get mine from Yarnspirations or from Amazon if I happen to have a coupon, because I try to only use my gift cards through there. If you want Big Twist Value, which is their acrylic yarn, you can get it from Amazon, from Spinrite potentially, same deal as the other Big Twist yarn. You could probably substitute it for most anti-pilling acrylic yarns. They won't be as economical, but those anti-pilling yarns are the same as the Big Twist Value yarn. All in all, Joann closing is a devastating hit to the crafting community. In a time where we are taught to overconsume, which I know is ironic with all the yarn I'm talking about buying, Joann has been a source of being able to get crafting supplies economically so that we can take part in making things at a slower pace. We as crafters do something amazing. We take string or paint or buttons or beads and turn it into beautiful works of art. Art that our modern society undervalues. But without the artists who make these sorts of things, we would be nowhere near as close to breakthroughs as we are now. Artists look at things from a different perspective that a lot of people undervalue. And so I want you to remember that. We do great work. You may not be an artist of the traditional sense watching, but you are an artist still. Whether you doodle in your textbook, or whether you bake a cookie, whether you sit and sing a song sometime, whether you write wonderful words, you are still an artist. That work has value. Just because this company is gone doesn't mean your work stops having value. It just means that the places to get resources to take part in that art, the amount of places there are, is less. For me, I'm still going to keep on doing what I do. I will still be here, making lots of silly crochet videos like I do. And I'll still be here encouraging you to try and do crochet things, whether it's getting my patterns online, whether it's going to a craft fair for the first time, whether it's going to a craft fair to buy something for the first time because you don't want to run a business. That's fine. Small businesses aren't entitled to your attention, your time, your money. But with how businesses are conglomerating together, it's important that we try to put some power back in the hands of people. I know that I have a point, but I feel like I'm not getting it across. You know? Sometimes you just gotta word vomit and then you're like, oh my god, you're saying nothing, please. Too long didn't read. Too long didn't watch. Support small businesses. I know it's scary that yarn and other craft supplies are being taken away and put in harder to access places. And that it's scary that craft stores are getting slowly kind of conglomerated, monopolized, etc. Stick to your guns. Reach out to your community. Look around and see what you can make with what you have. See if your Buy Nothing group has leftover yarn. See if there is a new business that you want to try yarn from, like the Naughty Ball that I mentioned earlier. I had never heard of it until I saw that post, and I was like, ooh, new thing to try. For now, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you're going to do one of those three things. Make it subscribing so you can see what I end up making with my final haul from Joann. It feels sad saying that. Ugh. If you want to support me, there are multiple ways you can do that. You can get my patterns on Rippler. You can get the hooks that I use or my yarn winder down below in the description because I'm an Amazon affiliate. Sorry, I don't like being with Amazon, but I have to survive. If you buy the things through there, I get a small commission. That is the long and short of it. I have only put products that I actually actively use, that I've shown you guys that I use. You can get those down in the description below if you want the same ones that I have. You can also just comment, follow, share with friends, watch this video again on 50% speed. I don't know. Today's question of the day is, if Joann was having an actual funeral, if it had a body, we're going back to the opening, how would you think Joann would want to be celebrated? For me, I think Joann would want a bedazzled coffin that is like one of those tumbler cups where you put the liquid in and it has the glitter that when you shake it, the glitter goes places. You know what I'm talking about. I think it would want a coffin that looks like that with like a bedazzled top, like rhinestones, and to be buried somewhere pretty, like a gardening section in a store or something. But what do you think Joann would want as a funeral? Let me know in the comments below. I cannot take myself seriously. With all of that, thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.